breaking news, Tobes. Breaking news. First one up. We've got the Warriors game.
Disgraceful, apparently.
And you've got Ricky Stewart.
Yeah.
Who's come out and said it was disgraceful refereeing. It reminded him of a rugby match.
Village from him.
No, I say fair. Absolutely fair.
Do you reckon rugby union referees suck?
I think the rules have become so unclear in rugby.
Right, yeah.
You can turn up and not know why on earth you're getting penalised.
Yeah.
And that's what he's alluding to with that NRL game. Where actually, normally, one of the strengths of rugby league is it's pretty simplistic.
It's pretty easy, eh? The players know what they're doing. Just run into a wall and then put it between their legs.
Sounds great, doesn't it? Run into a wall.
Sounds like my old girlfriend. Put it between your legs.
Oh, God's sake.
Anyway.
So when I've got to tick the box, is this made for kids? No, not this week. Yeah, so it just shows the state of rugby refereeing. And I have to say, what has been very interesting, and I think this came from the Razzler Dazzler actually, is that you've stripped away all the away refereeing.
Yeah.
And all you've got is a New Zealander refereeing New Zealanders, or Australians refereeing Australians, and hopefully soon South Africans refereeing South Africans. The quality of the refereeing in New Zealand was okay.
It wasn't amazing though, was it?
Wasn't amazing. And the quality of the refereeing in the Aussie games been very questionable at times. So it has shown we've got a real issue with the rules. I'm not even sure whether it's the referees. I genuinely think the rules are so unclear that even experienced players or commentators don't really know.
Well, the new laws that came in, what even were they? They're like, oh yeah, the referees are going to be stricter around the ruck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a rule change. That's not a law change.
No, they were going to referee it properly, and they did so for 2 weeks. And then everyone complained, so they've gone back to pretty much exactly what was happening before.
I agree.
Which is a real shame, because it is a dangerous area of the game.
It is.
That does need to be dealt with. And it's not getting dealt with.
No.
Clear as mud, mate. Clear as mud.
Yeah.
But a great story now.
Yes.
We've got the best 7 in New Zealand. Plays for Taranaki, apparently.
Does.
Liam Boshier. Ranfurly Shield is back at Taranaki.
It is.
Took it away from the Crusaders or the Canterbury team. 1 point win. And it was a great game. It genuinely was. Taranaki went way up. The Barrett brothers were on fire. Liam Boshier was on fire.
Yeah.
Taranaki just were on fire.
And then they lost it.
And then they lost it, and then they got it back.
And then they kicked it with, a few minutes to go?
Yeah. But what was really, really nice about this game was it was blatant how much it meant to the players still. The Barrett brothers looked chuffed to pieces to win the Ranfurly Shield.
We had that conversation, didn't we? And a lot of, very good rugby players haven't won the Ranfurly Shield.
That's right, yeah. Because they haven't even played in the game.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Beauden Barrett has now done that. He's won a World Cup. He's won, Bledisloe. He's won the Rugby Championship. He's won the World Cup.
Twice, mate, apparently. He has won it twice, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, yeah.
He's won it twice, yeah.
Yeah. I've won it 3 times because I am part of the New Zealand community.
There you go, yes.
So have you, mate.
No,
you're not. Let's be honest.
But Mills Muliaina has played over 100 games for the All Blacks, and he's played in 1 Ranfurly Shield match. 1. So it just shows, doesn't it? Just shows that these opportunities. I've played in 1 Ranfurly Shield match as well. Did you know that?
And your dreams doesn't count.
No, mate. I've played in 1 Ranfurly Shield match.
Yeah, so have I.
We got well beaten by Canterbury.
Oh, for what?
Very, very well beaten.
For Buller.
Yeah.
What was the score?
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
You know that
we actually put a great fight. At one point, it was 3-3.
Quality.
Yeah, 3-3. And then it wasn't.
What was the final score? Can you remember?
I think they beat us by like 30 odd points.
See, that's not that bad.
And they had a damn good team out.
Yeah.
Brad Thorne was playing.
Oh, yeah. Who were you marking?
I was marking Fijian coach. He was New South Wales coach. Daryl Gibson. Me versus Gibbo, yeah. He may have beaten me in that game a few times. But, Daryl Gibson marked Daryl Gibson for the match. So that was good. That was pretty cool.
Did you get to punch him in the nose? Because everyone else seemed to...
Well...
By the looks of it anyway.
No, I was just happy to be out on the pitch.
Yeah, that's right.
Mate, Tamana Harrison, who, a very good story here, has sort of praised Dylan Hartley for his book, saying that people need to sort of mention about how tough and rough the game is.
Yeah.
And I think it probably made a lot of rugby players feel like, they don't really want to end up at the end of their career feeling absolutely broken.
Well, they do though, don't they?
But yeah.
Their body's busted.
I mean, I thought I got away with it, mate, but I've just turned 41 and my body's falling to pieces. And it just shows, hips are gone, knees are gone, ankles are gone, wrists are gone, and it just comes and hits you from nowhere. So maybe it's just old age, but maybe it is the fact that I played rugby for a big portion of my, my childhood or...
Your life, really.
Your life, yeah. So it's a tough old game, and I I'm sort of borderline amateur when I first started.
Yeah.
These guys are bigger, stronger, and tougher.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting story is, he's from Rotorua. Obviously, Dylan Hartley's from Rotorua.
They went to school together, didn't they? Rotorua Boys High School?
I'm not sure whether they went to school together or not. I think the story was that Dylan Hartley went backpacking in England and didn't ever come home.
Backpacking in England?
Yeah.
Where do you go? What, in London? Yeah, I'm just going backpacking. Well, where? To London.
Exactly.
London, baby.
But apparently on the World Cup, when he went back to New Zealand, he obviously saw him play and sort of said, listen, you come over, we'll look after you. So kind of signed him up from that. So, and they've been pretty tight ever since.
Yeah, good. Cool.
Next story, mate, Nigel Owens. Do you want to kick that one off?
No. No, Nigel Owens issues some sound career advice for Rob Kearney. So I'm guessing this is in the Leinster game, yes. Pro 14. Did they play? They played Saracens, didn't they? They
played Racing. I think they played Racing and lost. They played Racing and lost, I think. But anyway, so Rob Kearney has played many a game and is retiring from rugby. So what did Nigel Owens say? He said something along the lines of, thanks for all the hard work you've done. Maybe you should become a referee. You've been telling me how to do my job for the last few years anyway. So obviously he's one of those, isn't he? He's one of those.
That's quality though. That's funny. But, Nigel Owens seems like a real good guy, and he's a bloody good ref.
Seems like an absolute great guy, doesn't he?
Because he does talks, doesn't he? He goes around to local clubs and, all over really, and does talks.
Whenever I've seen him on anything like on an interview or on a podcast or on the TV, he has never failed not to come across like a great guy.
Yeah.
And everyone's sort of like, whatever he says, people listen to him. He's one of those people when he speaks. Even on
the pitch though as well.
Yeah. He just got away, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I still think he is arguably the best referee in the world.
Oh, definitely. I think so. Well, who else would be out there?
Well, the Frenchies are up there, aren't they? As in, that's what World Rugby thinks.
Well, they're wrong.
But they're wrong.
Yeah. South Africans?
We like the Jaco Piper.
Yes.
We've always liked him. I think a couple of the English guys are pretty good.
The young English, what's his name? Is it Ben?
Is it Ben?
Ben someone. Or I could be absolutely... I think I am wrong. But yeah, there's a couple of young English blokes.
They do a decent job.
Yeah, what about Wayne Barnes? People rave about Wayne Barnes.
I didn't used to like Wayne Barnes.
I think he's gotten better.
I think what I like about Wayne Barnes now is the fact that when he makes a mistake, he actually says, I'm sorry, lads, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I like that because refereeing a game of rugby is not like refereeing any other sport that I've played or refereed because it's damn tough. You know, you've got 30 guys.
But you've also got loads of rules.
You've got loads of rules, and you've got these big units.
Yeah.
And you're trying to keep your eye on so many different things in a game of rugby. And often you can't actually see exactly what's going on.
No.
So you're refereeing literally blind. And even at international level, it's obviously going so fast and moving so fast. They just can't keep up.
No.
Even when they've got 3 of them.
That's right, yeah.
Plus a TV
bloke upstairs.
Video ref upstairs.
Saracens cause an upset, smashing Leinster. So I was right. Leinster's 25-game, 16-month unbeaten run. That's pretty bloody good.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether it was an upset. I think it was always going to be a hell of a match. I don't think it's an upset, but I think that the fact that
is it called an upset because
they've not lost in a long
relegated?
Time? Maybe they've lost a few of their players, but I still think they've kept together this season pretty much their squad.
I wonder who's paying them.
I mean, they're still getting paid, aren't they?
They're still getting paid, but not as much.
They've broken the salary cap,
yes,
but that will kick in next year. So they've obviously paid.
So they can still. Well, I tell you what. Since the thing that I would do is I'd almost pay them in advance,
or pay them a bonus
for next year. So let's say they're getting £500,000 for the year. They've broken the salary cap, so they've gone right. We're gonna knock you down to £300,000, but we're gonna pay you an extra £200,000. So you're gonna get £700,000 this year. And then £300,000 next year. So you'll still get you'll still get the £1 million over 2 years.
I'm not sure you can do that, but it sounds like a great idea.
I wouldn't put it past him.
No. But what is really interesting here is obviously they're relegated from the Premiership.
Yes.
But they've not done anything wrong in Europe.
No, they haven't.
Most of these other teams have no salary caps or huge. I mean, you go to France, they've got a huge, budgets to work with.
Yeah.
So they're not breaking any of those rules. They could go and win Europe.
They could.
But around the corner is a very interesting game that it looks like it's going to be in the final. We won't know until a couple of weeks' time, but it could be Exeter versus Saracens. And if that is the European Cup final, that would be truly amazing.
Do you reckon?
Oh, yeah. I mean, 2 English clubs, and one of them being a Premiership club that about 5 years ago was in the Championship. So, Exeter, I can remember when Exeter moved up, and it wasn't that long ago.
No.
So for them to go become...
up, and then a few years later, be champions...
Of Europe.
It's kind of like when Leicester... In the football, they went up from the Championship a couple of years and then they won it.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. So Saracens it would be fantastic. Saracens v Exeter.
Don't like Saracens.
In the final.
Don't like.
You'd have to cheer for Exeter on that.
Yes.
That they got guys who grew up through their academy, who live in Exeter. It's a tough old place to get to.
Is it Exeter Chiefs? Exeter Chiefs.
Exeter Chiefs. Yeah. That'll be a hell of a story if they won it. That's for sure. And what I like about the next story is, obviously in South Africa, they are going to have basically a North versus South rugby competition, like they've done in New Zealand, like they do with the State of Origin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to be potentially kicking off their season. So they're going to have this game as a kick-off to the season. Just imagine not doing any real contact for... and
then going into a huge game like that.
It'd be really interesting to watch. So 13 World Cup finalists named in this sort of draft historic match. And, some of the names, fantastic, big names that are going to play on that. So I'd definitely watch that game. Not sure whether it has the same... naturally north versus south, one island to the other. So it'd be interesting to see how they divvy up.
It'll be interesting to see
how they sort of get that tribal element to it.
Well, not necessarily tribal element, but I mean like the South African public, how they latch onto it. Will they be like, oh, it's just another rugby game, or absolutely frothing over it like New Zealand kind of was?
Yeah.
And, State of Origin, people absolutely love it. Do you know, back at school, we used to have like a game before the State of Origin like matches kicked off at school. Oh, who do you support? New South Wales. Oh, I'm Queensland. And then we used to have a big rugby match.
You're reliving it.
Yeah.
I mean, what were you?
We were like the coon raiser.
Were you New South Wales or you Queensland?
I was New South Wales.
I was Queensland.
Oh, village.
But it's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
New Zealand kids, we loved the State of Origin.
Yeah.
We loved the first 10 minutes of State of Origin where they literally were trying to knock each other's blocks off.
Through the kitchen sink, eh? But then Biff went, which was dumb.
Who?
Biff.
Biff who?
No, not Biff who, but like fights and stuff.
They were proper fights back then, though, weren't they? Proper fights.
Biff who?
But that's what I mean. You've got New South Wales versus Queensland. You've got that tribalism, don't you?
Yeah.
You've got North versus South. You've got that tribalism. And, everyone on the North Island's cheering for the North Island. Everyone on the South Island's cheering for the South Island. It'll be interesting to see how they try and encompass that. Whether they just split,
half and half. I choose, you choose, I choose, you choose kind of thing.
Well, yeah, but kind of like, regions. It must be done in regions, right. You'd imagine, wouldn't you? Last story up, mate, for breaking news is the English rugby fans are absolutely heartbroken at the fact that what they were promised, which was the ability to go and see their rugby teams play, has been dashed because of COVID.
Yeah, well, it's the same with all sport in the UK at the moment.
Yeah. They've actually just today said no more than 6 people playing any indoor sport.
Yeah.
So if you're a young kid these days, like my young 2 whippersnappers, potentially you're missing out. You've missed 6 months of school.
Yeah.
And now you're missing out on sport, club sport. Not
Dumb,
great,
mate.
is it, for sport?
No.
In
but
this
again,
country?
it is what it is. The government have to do what they have to do to stop the spread. And if that means doing that, cutting people off for a little bit, then they have to do it.
Yes, sad
but
but
again,
true.
mate, we're not politicians. Let's not
sad
talk about
but true. But New Zealand right now, it's looking pretty good.
Well, we said that
It's down to
we
level.
said that a month ago, and then they had about a few more cases, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's down to level 1 at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, but mate,
which basically just means
doesn't
back to
matter.
normal, which means you get crowds back in.
For what?
Well, for the Bledisloe Cup matches, mate.
That's in South Africa.
No, two games in New Zealand.
When?
In a couple of weeks' time.
Nah.
Do you do a Super Rugby podcast? And
How
you
come we
don't
haven't done it?
even know?
How come we haven't put it on then?
We spoke about it last week.
I don't think. No, because they're all. TJ Perenara was having a go at it because he was having to leave his family for 10 weeks.
That is the Rugby Championship.
Yeah.
The Bledisloe Cup.
So when's the Rugby Championship happening?
Well,
November.
Hasn't been decided yet.
Oh, right, okay. Anyway, let's move on. The Brumbies